The moon was full, casting a silver glow over the kingdom. It was a night just like any other, but little did anyone know, it was a night that would change the fate of Bassey, a young farmer's son, forever. In the kingdom of Aqua, where the palm trees swayed gently in the breeze, and the rivers flowed with crystal clear water, Bassey lived a simple life. He spent his days farming, fishing, and helping his mother with household chores. But Bassey's life took a dramatic turn when he caught the eye of the king's wife, Queen Akon. She was a beautiful woman, with skin as black as coal and hair as bright as the sun. She had a kind heart, but she was also known for her fierce temper. One day, while Bassey was working in the palace gardens, Queen Akon saw him. She was immediately taken by his strong build and charming smile. She began to visit the gardens often, just to catch a glimpse of Bassey. But their friendship was forbidden. The king's advisor, Okoro, had warned the queen to stay away from Bassey. He was a wicked man, with a heart full of jealousy and hatred.
Bassey is a poor farmer's son.
But Queen Akon did not listen. She continued to visit Bassey in secret, until one day, they were caught by Okoro himself. Would you like me to continue the story? Please hit on the subscribe button to join the family. Let's see what happened. Okoro's eyes narrowed as he saw the queen and Bassey together. He had been suspecting that something was going on between them, and now he had finally caught them in the act.
Your Majesty,
Okoro said, his voice dripping with malice.
I see you have been keeping secrets from the king.
The queen stood tall, her eyes flashing with defiance.
I have done nothing wrong, Okoro,
she said.
Bassey and I are just friends.
But Okoro just laughed.
Friends,
he repeated.
I don't think so, Your Majesty. You are the queen, and Bassey is just a poor farmer's son. You are not equals.
The queen's face grew red with anger, but Okoro just continued to taunt her.
I will make sure the king knows about this,
he said.
And when he does, you will be punished.
Bassey stepped forward, his eyes blazing with anger.
You will not hurt the queen,
he said.
I will protect her.
Okoro sneered at Bassey.
You think you can protect the queen?
He said.
You are just a poor farmer's son. You are no match for me.
And with that, Okoro turned and ran, leaving the queen and Bassey alone. But the queen's troubles were far from over. Okoro had vowed to destroy her, and he would stop at nothing to achieve his goal. The queen's heart was racing with fear. She knew that Okoro was a powerful man, and that he would stop at nothing to destroy her. Bassey saw the fear in her eyes and took her hand.
Do not worry, Your Majesty,
he said.
I will protect you. I will not let Okoro harm you.
The queen smiled weakly.
Thank you, Bassey,
she said.
but I fear that Okoro is too powerful. He has the king's ear, and he will use that to destroy me.
Just then, a messenger appeared.
Your Majesty,
He said, bowing low.
the king requests your presence in the throne room.
The queen's heart sank. She knew that Okoro must have told the king about her and Bassey. She stood up, her head held high, and followed the messenger to the throne room. As they walked, Bassey followed close behind. He was determined to protect the queen, no matter what happened. When they arrived at the throne room, the king was seated on his throne, his face stern. Okoro stood beside him, a smug look on his face.
Your Majesty,
Okoro said, bowing low.
I have come to accuse the queen of treason. She has been consorting with a commoner, Bassey, and plotting against you.
The king's face grew red with anger.
Is this true?
He thundered, looking at the queen. The queen stood tall, her eyes flashing with defiance.
I am innocent,
She said.
Okoro is lying.
But the king was not convinced.
I will investigate this matter.
He said.
And if I find that you are guilty, you will be punished severely.
The queen's heart sank. She knew that she was in grave danger. But Bassey stood beside her, his eyes blazing with determination.
Do not worry, Your Majesty.
He whispered.
I will find a way to clear your name.
But as they left the throne room, the queen could not shake off the feeling that she was walking into a trap. As they walked out of the throne room, Bassey could feel the weight of the queen's anxiety. He knew that he had to act fast to clear her name and protect her from Okoro's evil plans.
Your Majesty,
Bassey said, as they walked through the palace corridors.
I need to speak with you in private.
The queen nodded, and they made their way to a secluded garden deep within the palace. The garden was filled with beautiful flowers and the sound of birds chirping.
Bassey, what is it?
The queen asked, as they sat down on a bench.
I have a plan to clear your name,
Bassey said.
but it is going to require great courage and cunning.
The queen's eyes sparkled with determination.
I'm ready.
She said.
Tell me what I need to do.
Bassey smiled, admiring the queen's bravery.
We need to gather evidence to prove that Okoro is behind the plot to frame you.
He said.
And I think I know just how to do it.
The queen leaned in, her ears eager to hear Bassey's plan. And as they sat there, surrounded by the beauty of nature, Bassey began to spin a web of intrigue and deception that would change the course of their lives forever. Just then, a faint rustling sound came from the bushes nearby. Bassey's eyes narrowed, his senses on high alert.
What was that?
The queen whispered, her eyes wide with fear. Bassey's face set in a determined expression.
I'll go and check.
He said, standing up. The story is getting interesting, isn't it? Please hit on the subscribe button and let's continue, family. The figure emerged from the shadows, and Bassey's eyes widened in surprise. It was a young woman, dressed in a simple tunic and carrying a small bag slung over her shoulder.
Who are you?
Bassey asked, his hand on the knife at his belt. The woman looked around nervously, then focused on Bassey.
I'm Naoma.
She said.
I'm a servant in the palace. I've been sent to warn you. Bassey.
Warn me?
Bassey repeated.
What do you mean?
Neoma glanced around nervously again.
I overheard Okoro talking to his accomplices.
She said.
They're planning to attack the queen tonight, while she's sleeping. They'll make it look like a robbery gone wrong.
Bassey's face set in a determined expression.
Thank you, Inioma.
He said.
I will make sure the queen is protected.
Inioma nodded, then turned and disappeared into the shadows. Bassey rushed back to the queen, his heart pounding with urgency.
We have to get out of here now.
He said. Bassey quickly explained Inioma's warning, and the queen's face set in a determined expression.
We will not let Okoro win.
She said. Together, Bassey and the queen made their way back to the palace, gathering a small group of trusted guards along the way. They reached the queen's chambers just as Okoro and his accomplices were about to launch their attack. The fight was intense, but Bassey and the queen fought bravely. In the end, they emerged victorious, and Okoro and his accomplices were arrested and thrown into the dungeon. The king, realizing his mistake, apologized to the queen and thanked Bassey for saving her life. Bassey, humbled by the king's gratitude, asked only that the king rule with fairness and justice. And so, the kingdom prospered under the king's wise rule, and Bassey and the queen remained close friends. Bassey continued to work in the palace gardens, but now he was known as the hero who saved the queen's life. The story of Bassey and the queen was passed down through generations, a reminder of the power of bravery, loyalty, and friendship. Thank you for watching. The next story promises to be an exciting one. If you like the story, please show some love by subscribing to this channel.